Yeah.
Ready? Okay, we're going to call the Horry County Solid Waste Authority regular meeting Thursday, December the 7th, 2017 to order. The invocation will be done by Mr. Dan Gray, the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Michael Campbell.
Would you bow with me, please, dear Heavenly Father? Please be with us today, this time of year when we worship the birth of Jesus Christ. And we ask that you be with us today as we deliberate the county's business. For it's in your name we ask it. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Let's face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we need approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is passed. We need to approve the minutes of November 21st, 2017 regular meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those minutes have passed. We do not have any public input, so we're going to start with the departmental report updates. Recycling programs and corporate affairs will be first, starting on page 13.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
As Ms. Pam said, my report begins on page 14. I want to first give you an update on our 2017 Pop Art Contest, which was held. We usually start it around October, September, October. Students, middle school students are asked to create a work of art utilizing the item that we determined. This year's item was keys, any kind of keys. And our winning piece of artwork is called Merry Keysmas. And it's right there by the American flag. It's a Christmas tree made of keys of all sorts. Our middle school student was Christopher Emery from Blackwater Middle School. And he was so excited when we went to the school and presented him with his plaque and his prize pack. But he did an excellent job on that. So it will be on display here in our lobby through the first of the year, and then we'll return it to him, and then the school can display it or he can take it to himself. But he did an excellent job. The next update is on Caught Green-Handed. We visited the Homewood Recycling Center in November and had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Gary Stewart, who is I'd say recent resident here to Horry County, lives in the Conway area. Caught him doing some significant recycling, and he had good comments to say about our overall recycling program, and he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and he likes Clemson. He doesn't like the Cowboys. We stayed out there for a while talking with him. He's an overall good guy and was very pleased to be recognized for his efforts.
Ms. Murphy, I
Yes,
want
ma'am.
to say that evidently this award is very coveted to be caught green-handed. I've had a couple that's a friend of mine tell me that they really think as much as they recycle, they should be. And I was at a friend's birthday party at the Mellow Mushroom, and a couple that I don't know that recognized me from sometime I was on TV that said they thought they should be. So evidently this has become a very coveted award.
I wouldn't mind winning it. You know, it comes with a nice gift card and everything. It's really neat. Grinding up the greens, it is that time of year, Christmas time, and there are Christmas trees, live ones in particular, that will soon need to be recycled. This year, we will be partnering with Horry Electric Cooperative. This is a new partnership for us with them. They're excited. We're excited. The program will officially begin with advertising running the week prior to Christmas. We'll run some after Christmas as well. A sample copy of the ad was included in your packet. And as I said, we are definitely looking forward to this partnership this year with Ori Electric. The only, yeah.
Esther, how many years did we participate with Santee Shipping? 20 plus?
Oh, yeah, as long as we've been doing the program, we've been doing it with Santee Cooper. Unfortunately, this year, they had some budget cuts, and as they told me, some of the first programs to leave was anything dealing with donations, so they were unable to participate this year. But Ori Electric stepped up to the plate and was more than happy to join us in this effort. Only other update I had for you is just our holiday schedule, which is in your packet. It's also on our website. And it just basically gives you some information on how our facilities will be observing both Christmas and New Year's. And that's all I have, unless you have some questions.
Ms. Murphy, I just wanted to say, I've had a number of people talk to me about the new convenience center on McDowell Shortcut Road. I want to applaud everybody, the entire authority, everybody that had a hand in that, and it has certainly been well received by the public, and great job to everybody.
Thank you. We're getting definitely favorable comments about that center. It's a good location, good spot.
The I&R committee was taking up the initiative for 3 new centers to be upgraded. What was the outcome of that discussion?
Was that this week at the I&R committee? And Mr. Gosnell is here right behind me, but the basic response is at the current time, unless there's a revenue increase, there's not any funding in the budget to do any further capital improvement projects at this time.
Thank you.
I was a bit worried about doing 3 at one time. That might be a little busy.
I can retire in February. Just saying. Just saying.
The other thing is, I think someone asked about the trees and using them at the beach for sand dunes. I know we did that at one time, or someone did, and we don't.
Someone may have done it at one time. We have not. And I did speak to a representative from Surfrider this month about that. Right now, because it's so late in the year, what they're mainly doing is some fact-finding, there's a program in Wilmington that they are trying to mirror. We talked, and one of our challenges will definitely be, we've done this grinding of the greens program so long, and our residents are looking for this Christmas tree mulch after the season is done. So like I explained to him, it would be a little bit challenging for us to pull from one area where we've got people, they start calling in January wanting to know when they can come get their free mulch. At the same time, I told him maybe we could do something on a smaller scale with some of the things that come here to the landfill as far as Christmas trees. We won't plan to do anything this year. Like I said, he's doing fact-finding. Gave him the contact information for Georgetown County. He wants to talk to them also because he wants to focus on the south end of the beach, which is more, he's looking more in the Georgetown County side as opposed to Ori. But we'll continue to have discussions with him and see what we can maybe work out next year.
I know that this year also we've had a lot of the public that was interested in a lot of our programs, the recycling plastic bags, and have asked me for information and have talked with you. And I just want you to know I appreciate your staff taking the time to get this information together and to help them so that they understand that. I think you've done an excellent job with that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll pass it along. Nothing else? Merry Christmas. Happy New Year if I don't see you.
Merry Christmas to you, Esther. Operations and planning.
Good afternoon to everybody. We don't have a whole lot because we were just up here a couple weeks ago, but our driver of the month is Don Williams. He's been driving for Unlimited Sanitation for 7 years, so he's been a steady customer of ours, and he's out here and works with Chris really good in the morning and works with staff on safety and where he needs to put his loads out there. So he's a first-time winner. We were glad to nominate Don for that. The only other thing I have is landfill gas expansion. It's going really well. I've got some pictures in your packet right there that shows the supplies out there and the drill rig. They've drilled about 18 to 20 wells. Don't have the well heads on them, but we've drilled that. We've kept our deodorizer going to hopefully mask some of the odor for picking up the trash. And Tricon really seems to be on top of things. We've been real pleased as far as a contractor to work with on this big project. Very safety-minded, and the work we've seen is really, it's top-notch so far. So we're pleased with them, but it's going well. They've put a little bit of leachate lines down, not a lot, big work. They're trying to get all the wells done before the holiday gets here, before Christmas. Like I said, if you ever want to come out and take a ride, you'll see the wells out there, but they still got to do all the plumbing and all that, but they are getting those drilled and to get that process done before the holidays.
Anyone have any questions? Danny?
Bill, how many bags you get off to clean up this?
We got 57 bags and 4 tires.
I talked to Vance more earlier, talking about putting the wells in. Some of the material that's coming out of the wells is 20 years old. And the people that hate plastic bags, that's a good picture. Been in the bottom of a landfill for 20 years, 140 degrees. And it looked like some of the plastic bags, you just watered them up and got them dirty and threw them on the ground. They'll be there forever.
Just got them from Food Line yesterday.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. Everything does look good. I'd like to say again, and I know that you are, we just need to be very careful with our employees, and I'm sure theirs are used to doing that a lot, and I'm sure you are around that gas and anything else. Any kind of safety measure that we need to be taking or that we can think of to do to make sure everyone is protected out there, please let us know if you need any help.
We had a brief meeting this morning, and 2 of the folks that were in there, one from the contractor and one from the gas engineer, they both had their rattlers with them. So they keep those on, and they start getting out there, and the gas elevates a little bit, that thing will go off. And they'll know they're in the danger zone, but they're constantly, Tricon seems to be very, very safety-oriented. Everybody's wearing their high-visibility clothing out there, and I think they really put safety first out there with everything they do.
I would like to have some pictures of the plastic bags and some of those things that we tend to be having problems with, especially if it's pretty obvious they've still been down there for 20 years. With the new regulations and everything coming and going up and the public interested in that, I think we need to definitely look at that.
Okay.
See what we can do. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Finance and Administration.
I have a real lengthy report for you this month. As you can see, no financial reports this month due to the short time frame, but of course I'll report in January for the first 6 months of the year. What I do have for you is just the year-end transfer. Once we finish our audit, I always like to wait until the audit's complete to do a final transfer for year-end. And as you can see, I do apologize. I do have a typo with the very first line. The date should be June 30th, not March 31st. Our total unrestricted cash was $4,398,906. Based on the 15% of estimated annual revenue that we're to retain, we had an amount of $809,456 that we were able to transfer as of year end. My recommendation to the board is to transfer that into our piggyback expansion. As like I said, that's our next project that we have on board, and currently that's where we did not fund last year, if you'll remember, was future landfill construction. So I'm just asking for the board's approval to transfer $809,456 into piggyback expansion. At the bottom of the page, you can see kind of where we ended up for the year as to where our transfers actually went. We did put $180,472 into the MRF contingency. With this transfer, we would put $2,009,456 into piggyback construction, and we kept $808,948 in undesignated to purchase some of those capital items that are listed as the E items that Sometimes we're able to purchase, sometimes we're not. So we were able to do some purchases last year, which was great. So I'm just asking for the board's approval to do the transfer.
Madam Chair, I'll put that in the form of a motion to accept staff's recommendation to transfer that amount into the piggyback.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by other board members? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. It will be transferred. Thank you, Ms. Biddy.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Merry Christmas.
Recycling services and special projects.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
We've got a very little short report. I think all of us do since it's so early in the month. But just to give you an idea, we do have, we're able to ship all the material out this month in a reasonable amount of time. We did get it out. We had about 6 or 7 loads left in the facility at the end of the month, which was good compared to the last few months having a lot of material done. You know, and our, we continue to have our OCC pricing this month went down. It dropped. So did our fiber prices, and our PET prices seem to be going down. But this time of year, that's sort of normal. In November, October, November, December, the prices are real up and down, up and down. Normally, the November pricing is usually the lowest. It went back up a little bit in November, but it's dropped back down to what it was in October this time. So it's pretty common this time of the year. Everybody, and the reason for being that is the permits are pretty much filled up in China that they got issued to them for last year. They'll be issuing the permits to export to China by December 15th. Then everybody will know what they're going to be buying, and we'll start seeing prices hopefully rise back up in February. We, you know, like I said, we don't have any cost numbers. We do know our revenue is north of $430,000 this month, so we feel like it's going to be a pretty good month again. But other than that, we're just waiting for Christmas to get here.
You don't have a Christmas wish list that you want for the Murph?
We're going to be, we'll be working on that for next year's budget. This month is capital budget time, so we're all putting together a capital budget for y'all to review, and be doing operating in January. So we get the capital budgets done this year, and we're currently working on that, and we'll bring it to y'all at our workshops and see how much we can convince you to move along with us.
Well, if you've gotten a lot of that you stored in there out and most of your stuff out, y'all have had a busy month and you've been very busy. Thank you.
Yeah, we've done something a little different this time. We actually staged trailers at our docks, and we loaded trailers as they were hauling to Charleston. So when they come back, they just drove in and got them and went. And that was about the only way we could get it out as fast as we could this month because we had so much of it.
The equipment holding up pretty well, Mike?
Yes.
Any problems with anything? That you
No, we still got some issues going on with the lightning damage that we had. We still have not got that corrected yet. It's got ghost in it. Run good all day long, cut it off, go to start it back up the next morning, she won't start up. So we're working on that with CP Manufacturing to get that, and along with the insurance company, to get that fixed and repaired.
What about the 2 pieces of equipment that you had that the lightning had a problem with?
We hadn't had any problem at all with the 914 or anything like that. Everything's been running pretty well.
Okay. Okay. Do they have any idea why the equipment's not starting back up in the morning?
They probably gonna have to come here and do a diagnostics on it. We'll have 2 choices in diagnostic issues with it. They can come here and spend a week or 2 trying to diagnose, because it's got the issue has to happen, and then they have to research it. Well, when they do that, they have to, when it happens, they shut me down, and they don't know how long it's going to take for them to research me before I go back up. So it may be hours, maybe a half a day, which is an issue. And so there is a way for them to come in and do another like upgrade like we had before and replace all the wiring and stuff, just replace it and be done with it. They could do it over the weekend. So we've got to have conversations with our insurance company to say, well, this is our issues. what are you willing to pay for, what are you not willing to pay for, and try to move forward in there, and we just hadn't got there yet. We're working with CP, and they're trying to get us a letter, and once they get us a letter, then we'll sit down and talk to the insurance company.
Okay.
You've changed the way you've taken bids, Mr. Busted, as far as, you getting caught left with not picking up,
Well,
the material that they said that they were gonna get?
Yeah, last month, as I notified the board, we actually awarded it to Sunoco, and they were a few dollars less,
Right.
but they could take all the material. This month, when we bid it, we asked, how many loads can you take? Well, luckily, this month, the person that could take it all was the high bidder, which was Sunoco. So,
But from time to time, you've been left with material sitting on the dock out there because the guy said he had not moved it or could not take it.
yeah, he'd take half of what we had, and then all of a sudden, the trucks quit showing up and couldn't get him in there to do it. So we have started this process of trying to tighten it up a little bit. You gotta tell us how many loads you gonna take. We may end up issuing it to multiple buyers because of that. You know, if you got one that, of course, if I got one at $150 and he can take 15 loads, I may award him 15 and then go to the next man on the totem pole and award him 15, if that's what it takes. But I just don't want to get hung out with it. Unless I intentionally do it. You know, I may intentionally hold on to it sometimes, but right now the market seems to be going downward and jumping. You really can't tell where it's at.
Any other questions, Mr. Pheasant?
Thank you.
Thank you. Executive Director.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to pass out kind of a thank you note, everyone. The calendar year is ending. Of course, the fiscal year is going on. But these are some of the things that we've done this calendar year. And I won't read the whole list, but some of the bigger things is we rewrote the Charleston contract and agreed with that, and we maintained the INR committee reporting as we've been doing. We weathered the appointment and reappointment of board members, which was a trying time. I initiated the new fees that we have approved in this budget. We lost County Councilman James Frazier, who was one of the writers of the Solid Waste Authority guidelines in that approval process, and he'd always supported the Solid Waste Authority. Started filling the piggyback one, which took us years and years to get approved. Mike cleaned the MRF with OSHA request with in-house. We approved the donation of land for International Drive. We went through Hurricane Matthew with all that. Started a gas well expansion. Expanded the household hazardous waste program. Completed the external audit again with an unqualified letter. Resolution on the 1187 property, repaired the tipping floor. We did the botanical bank with Coastal. Maintained our blood drive. We started the rewrite of the management plan. Opened McDowell shortcut. Installed time clocks at the convenience centers. Initiated the TAR. And the staff would like to thank you for the support that we've got, the funding to make these things work. And I think we've had a good year, and it's just been a good Merry Christmas to us, and we just thank the board for what you do.
That's a very positive scorecard, and I can thank the staff and everybody that had a hand in doing that. So a lot accomplished. Congratulations.
You've done a great job, I'm telling you, with all that we've had
Well,
that faces.
Staff,
And staff, yeah.
staff done it. I helped it along, and y'all approved it, so it's been a good year.
I didn't know it was so trying to be appointed.
Now you know.
Congratulations, everyone. Congratulations, all.
last meeting, there was some kind of difference of opinion on the Charleston dates, and we've now got that straightened out. The dates that were handed out, the drop dead date was right, but the extensions and stuff like that was not, but we have now got that straightened out. And I passed out the letter from a neighbor up the road about Highway 90, but, you know, we took the position years ago that we would adopt 8 miles of Highway 90, and we did. And we pick it up monthly, and during the summer, we cut the grass. And this letter was more in line with picking it up weekly, but we talked to the jail and talked to the sheriff personally about getting inmates to help us. He had 4 inmates that sentenced in the whole jail. 2 was on the first shift of kitchen duties, and the other 2 was on the next shift. So I told him today, I said, everybody out there is pre-sentenced. It seemed like we need to have more court or something. But we're going to take position that we will hire temporary people to keep the road up till, in fact, we maybe can get other help from other places.
That's the key at the jail. 80% of the inmates haven't seen or been adjudicated yet.
That's right, pre-sentence.
And they can't be trustees until they've been adjudicated.
That's right.
So it leaves a small universe, and they have a lot of laundry they need to do. Thank you.
But we use as many people out of the solicitor's drug court as we can, but they come in for an hour or 30 minutes or 2 hours, and it's hard to do a thing like picking up sections of Highway 90 and the safety factors and having people out there with them. So we'll continue to try our best to keep it clean.
Danny, I'd just like to say, I've watched Highway 90 all the while, and it's a great improvement since solid waste started going out and picking it up. All the trash does not come off the garbage trucks. I've been standing in my yard and watched people throwing bottles out in the ditch. You would have to pick up every day. There's no way that you're going to keep with the current attitude of people until there's a lot of tarps down. You see more tarps coming down Highway 90. Some are a little raggedy, but they're covering up most stuff. A lot of people have stuff tied. I've seen the county out there. In fact, I saw some people out on 90 picking up yesterday. But it's a lot better than it has been. I think we're doing a great job out there as best as we can. If you're going to keep Highway 90 spotless, you'd have to have somebody out there around the clock. And I just don't think that's a feasible thing, but I think it's a lot better than what it was. And I think you've done a pretty good job on that. So I don't even know who this guy is. I don't know if he lives in the 8 mile stretch or not, but.
He lives at Bill's subdivision.
Well, a lot of that stuff comes off of private citizens hauling garbage to the Solid Waste Authority. I found 3 bags under my cedar tree, and I know that they didn't come off the garbage truck because I saw them when they fell off the truck. Nobody stops and picks them up. The beer bottles that I find in my ditch, I know they don't come off the garbage trucks because the wind's going to have to be blowing pretty hard to get them out the bottom of that truck on the side of the road. I see people pitching them out. So I think we do a pretty good job. What I would like to see, though, if we could get the law restricted more, have the Horry County Police begin to write more tickets and begin to hand out more fines, that's going to be one way to curtail that. But as far as just picking it up when it blows out, you'd have to be out there every day.
As we talked when you came in, the enforcement of the TARP has really made a big difference. And also, there is a group out of Coastal Carolina University who have adopted East Cox Ferry Road.
Good.
So we have more pickups along East Cox Ferry Road than we've had since
And
this
that
year.
is restricted from trucks, so there shouldn't be any garbage trucks on that road, and it gets,
It does get a
messed
lot.
up pretty bad, as we saw
Yeah.
before the pickup.
Yeah, we went and looked at that when we did the certain roads for
Survey.
the survey, and that road beat Highway 90 by 50%, even with the trucks that we have. When we rode down that road, and I think that was the first time I've ever ridden down that road, didn't even know it was there. I've never seen anything like the trash on East Cox Ferry Road. But I agree with you. Trash is a terrible thing. It's not appropriate. I hate it for the people on Highway 90, but I also hate it for every road in this county. And it would look like by now that we would know that that's not the appropriate thing for us to be doing. And if we're hauling our trash or our mattresses to the recycling center, if it falls off, we should be getting out and picking them up. I do think the Solid Waste Authority has, for 4 miles, done an excellent job as far as picking that up. I appreciate you enacting that, and I think it's a bit unfair to put that all on one person or one area, because that's not the case. And I think we are doing the best we can with that, and we'll continue to do that. I think the county, when Mr. Lazarus enacted the cleanup, the county certainly has made strides toward cleaning up all of the roads here and with the tarp. So I think all of us have made strides and have been interested in that and concerned and are doing that, and hopefully it will not continue the way that it is. Mr. Gray, did you want to say something?
I was going to ask Danny to refresh my memory. Our contract date with Charleston, does it go August to August? Is that the way it goes?
January of 2018,
What was that?
January 2018.
No, I mean, we started it in
August, we started in August 1st.
Last year or whatever. So we now a few months into the second year.
Oh, yeah, we in the rewrite year now, the new amended agreement, we in it now.
And
We in the
so-
first 6 months of the rewrite amendment,
Okay, and then we already know that they want another 6
and we've
months.
approved that.
Okay,
We approved that at the last meeting, that they get the next 6 months.
so that would carry it out to winter, 2 winters from now. Somewhere in there.
But we, I think everything's moving good, and as long as they're making progress on those, as we told them the other night, as long as they're making progress on it, with the new agreement, I think, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't recommend 6 additional months outside of the agreement.
Heck, no, we're making money on it now.
Well, as long as she keeps running. Cut her off and she won't start back up. So, as long as she keeps running, we good.
Thank you.
That's it, and I thank you, thank the board for the support.
Thank you. You have had some, especially with the rain, all of the staff out on that landfill that's been working out there with the unreasonable amount of rain that we've had, and the things that you're doing have done an excellent job. Thank you. We don't have any committee reports. Is there any old business? If not, the new business, financial assurance, Ms. Bidding?
As I'm sure all of you are aware, according to the South Carolina Solid Waste Policy and Management Act, all permitted landfills are required to have a financial assurance mechanism in place to ensure that funds are available for the cleanup of the facility at the time of closure and to cover any post-closure care costs that may be required. There's several different mechanisms that you're at liberty to use. We use the local government financial test. And what I've got included for you, of course, are the reports that we are required to submit to DHEC, and we're required to do that by December 31st. As a component unit of Horry County, we do also incorporate their CAFR as well. At this time, their CAFR has not been completed or approved. It is due to be approved December 12th. So I'm hoping to get a copy of that by December 13th so that I can get this filed by December 31st. DHEC is very lenient with us. They understand that it takes a lot of different components to put together to get this completed. So If I see that that's not going to be the case, I will get, in touch with them and make them aware of it. They will give us an extension. That's not a problem. But based on the information that I have received from the county, we are in compliance. We meet all the requirements for the local government financial test. I have all the information here for you in the packet, and I'm just asking your approval tonight for me to submit this report once I receive the CAFR from Horry County with our CAFR and our budget and these documents to DHEC for this year's financial assurance.
I move we approve the recommended action.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? That passes. Thank you, Ms. Bennett.
Thank you.
Roundtable discussion. Now is the time that anybody can talk about anything they would like. Or any, well, no, we're not going to do that. Not by name
Time to
anyway.
talk about people?
Yeah.
We're going to be bigger than that.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything they want to discuss? Okay, we do not have an executive session, so I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn.
So moved. Thank you, everyone.
Good year.
I think
It
there's
was a
some
good year, wasn't it?
some cookies and